Hey, what's up, nerds? I know y'all have missed me. It's been like a month, right? I know. You all are begging, pleading for the MTG Man content, alright? Life's just been busy, I'm figuring shit out, whatever. But today, I saw this shit in spoilers, and I was like, okay, I gotta think about this, and now I have to talk about it. So this is the Capitoline Triad, question mark? It's from the Assassin's Creed set, so it's a 10 mana 7/7. Those who came before it, so it costs one less for each historic card in your graveyard. And then exile any number of historic cards with total mana value 30 or greater, and you get an emblem, which, if you remember correctly, emblems cannot be destroyed. Like, there's no way to get rid of it, as far as I know. That creatures you control have base power and toughness 9/9. So what's this? This is a colorless. However, a lot of colorless decks are go tall. This is a go wide colorless, which is kind of strange if you think about it. But we're gonna be creating tokens. Let's talk about the game plan here. We are milling cards to get historic cards in the graveyard so that the Capitoline Triad is gonna cost less, right? And then on top of milling, we're also gonna be trying to get value out of things in our graveyard. And then we're gonna try and exile 30 mana value worth so that all of our small things can be way bigger, and hopefully take out the opponent with a board of 9/9s. Interesting thing, the Triad is basically never going to have to worry about command tax because it's just going to keep costing less every time there's more historic stuff in your graveyard. So just going over it, Accomplished Automaton. We want these cards with Fabricate because we can create the servo and it'll be 2/9/9s. 2/9/9s is going to be a lot of value, especially depending on what board, and it has a high mana value, which means it'll count for a lot when we're getting rid of historic cards from the graveyard. Some of these cards you'll notice, like Ancient Stone Idol, it's a good card, whatever, but a lot of times we just want to get rid of it to get towards that 30 mana. Canoptek's Scarab Swarm is going to benefit for having all of those artifacts in your graveyard, right? And then, like, you can either exile your graveyard to get a whole bunch of tokens, exile an opponent's graveyard to get a whole bunch of tokens, but either way, you can then make those tokens 9/9s and hopefully take over the board with that. Cityscape Leveler is removal. Hangarback Walker for tokens. Hedron Crawler is ramp. Iron League Steed, again, it's a 4 mana for 2/9/9s once you have that emblem on the board. I'd pay 4 mana for 18 power any day. Milliken, again, this is doing everything our deck wants. This is ramping, this is milling, and it's a cheap creature that'll turn into a 9/9. Myr Battlesphere for the tokens. Myriad Construct for the tokens. Necropede. Infect is going to be playing a small part of the game plan. When you have a 9/9, sure, that might not always end the game, but you only need 10 Infect counters to win. So Necropede is always going to be an option. Ornithopter of Paradise is going to be evasive once it's a 9/9, and it'll be able to tap for mana, so it'll ramp you. Same with Palladium Myr, except it's not evasive. Pentavis is basically just here to create tokens. Phyrexian Triniform is a 9/9 that when it dies creates 3/9/9s now. Think of how nutty that is, right? Plague Myr, partially for Infect, partially for Ramp. Precursor Golem, it's 5 mana, it'll bring 3 bodies onto the board. Thopter Assembly, is, again, Thopters are going to be probably your best token because they have flying on top of being able to become 9/9s. So just, this is at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control no Thopters other than it, return it to your hand, create 45 power with flying. That just takes a player out, which is kind of nuts. Triplicate Titan, again, it's a 9/9 that'll die to create 3/9/9s. Wandering Archaic, kind of a staple for colorless decks. Wurmcoil Engine, because creating 2/9/9 tokens is really good. Zenith Chronicler is a way to draw cards. Plus, you're never going to cast a multicolored spell, so your opponents are 100% getting less value than you are off of it. Moving on to regular artifacts. Chroma's Memorial, again, it'll be a big count till 30, but at the same time, it'll give your other things flying, which is going to be super helpful, along with Trample, which is super helpful, because just because you have a board of 9/9s, a 9/9 can still get blocked by a 1/1 squirrel and deal no damage, right? But a 9/9 with Trample, that's when shit gets serious. Bag of Holding for card choice. Chromatic Sphere, Chromatic Star. We want to be able to get through the deck. So if we're paying 1 mana to get, or we're paying 2 mana basically to draw a card, get 1 mana back, it's just cycling through the deck, and it's going to help it be a little bit more consistent. Darksteel Monolith, being able to cast something for free is going to be really big. And on top of that, 8 is a big chunk of 30. Dollhouse of Horrors, because we're going to be milling, so sometimes it's nice to get something back that we milled, like an Accomplished Automaton, a Cityscape Leveler, whatever. It's just nice to have options. Ebony Fly can become a creature, and it's ramp, so just a general include. Fellwar Stone for ramp. Golem Foundry to get bodies on the board. Grimoire of the Dead to get bodies on the board. Guardian Idol is a creature, and it's ramp, so you'll see with lands, too, we want things that can turn into creatures, because it doesn't matter if they start a creature. Eventually, if they're swinging in, then it's worth the investment. Howling Mine for draw, Ichor Wellspring for draw, Keening Stone for mill, Lightning Greaves for protection, Liquimetal Torque for ramp, Mesmeric Orb for mill, Mind Stone for draw and ramp, Mind's Eye for draw, Monkey Cage to get bodies on the board, Moonsilver Spear to get bodies on the board. Sure, turning a 4/4 into a 9/9 is only so good, but flying is going to be useful either way. Necron Monolith is mill, and it'll get bodies on the board. Palantir of Orthanc is mill and draw. Plus, this can really burn through your opponents. Like, I have lost games because I thought, oh, I'm going to be fine, My opponent is going to mill 4 cards, and it's not going to be that bad, right? And then they mill 4 cards, and it comes out to, like, 15 mana, and I lose. Alright, so it's a card that needs to be taken seriously. Perpetual Timepiece for mill. Planar Atlas is just kind of, it's going to help you ramp if you need another land, and it's just a ramp piece in general. Reckoner Bankbuster for ramp, plus it'll create a body, plus it'll draw you a card. So it's just like a little bit of everything. Seer Sundial for draw. Serum Powder. This deck needs to be consistent with its mulligans, so even if Serum Powder only happens like once in every 20 games you play, that's going to be one game you're playing better. And besides that, it's just oh no, it's basically what? How often do you sacrifice your command sphere to draw a card? Like, personally, I do sometimes, but I think I would rather have the free mulligan, especially because command sphere doesn't work in this deck, because it's colorless. Shriekhorn for mill, Slate of Ancestry to just, if you're going to create tokens, this will help refill your hand. Soul Ring for ramp, Swiftfoot Boots for protection, Thought Vessel. Hopefully you're going to keep a good amount of cards in your hand, and it's just ramp. Thrain Dynamite for ramp. Trading Post to create those tokens. A 0/1, so paying 1 mana, paying 1 life, and getting a 9/9 is really good, compared to getting a 0/1 like usual. So just getting to it as fast as possible. Transmogrifying Wand is going to be another source of removal. Colorless really limits a lot of your options. Like, you don't really have counterspells, you don't really have removal. So you need to make the best with what you have. Wand of Vertebrae is just another way to mill. Wondrous Crucible is going to give you your permanent's ward to help protect them. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you mill 2, exile a non-land card from your graveyard, and copy it. And you can cast the copy without paying its mana value. So it's just more ways to get value from the things you milled. Kozilek's Command. So there are very few instants and sorceries in colorless. This is one of them. So being able to scry X and draw a card is okay. Exiling a creature is probably going to be one of your 2. And then the other 2, or the second one, is going to be creating the 0/1s, because you can either sacrifice them for mana, or you can have them become 9/9s, like, as soon as possible. Alright, because you just want to build that board as quick as possible. Null Elemental Blast is probably the only counterspell you'll have. And it's not a bad one. Okay, being able to counter a multicolored spell for 1 mana is pretty good. Titan's Presence is going to be another source of removal. Same with Warping Whale, which can also create bodies. Scattering Invasion is here to create bodies. I mean, 7 mana to create 5 9/9s is going to be pretty good when you're able to get to it. Land-wise, we're not playing waste because it feels like a waste, no pun intended. I know, sure, you'll be like, oh, but what if they hit you with Field of the Dead? Then you're gonna have nothing to hit. What are the chances they're playing Field of the Dead and not just like Wasteland, right? I would rather have lands that just are waste with an extra ability than that one time that there's a Field of the Dead. But anywho, Arcane Lighthouse, Arid Archway, Blast Zone is like a board wipe. Blasted Landscape for the cycling ability, mostly to keep your hand full. Blink Moth Nexus because it turns into a creature. Buried Ruins to get back things that you might need. Cradle of the Cursed to create a body. Crawling Barrens because it can become a creature. Cryptic Caves for draw. Crystal Vein for like extra ramp if you need it. Desert can hit down things that are attacking that are small. Diamond City to protect your creatures. Drownyard Temple because if you mill it, then you can get it back to help you ramp out. Dunes of the Dead, basically just another way to get bodies on the board. Encroaching Wastes, it's removal if you need it. Field of the Dead is a really big card. This is another reason why I'm not playing Wastes. If you can get the 7 or more lands and you start creating those zombies are going to become bodies that become 9/9s, so it's just more and more value. For more Vault, you're going to have artifacts out. It's going to help you get card advantage. Foundry of the Consoles, creating 2 1/1s that are 9/9s could be game-winning, essentially. Being able to turn your lands into creatures, being able to sacrifice your lands for creatures, can sometimes be the difference between winning the game and losing the game. Gaia Reach Sanitarium for draw. Ink Moth Nexus, this is Infect, this is flying, it becomes a creature. It's basically everything you want. Azatep Quarry is another way to create bodies. Maze of Ith to remove shit. Well, not to remove shit, but it stops it from attacking. It can be the difference between winning and losing sometimes. Murex for tokens. Moon Vault becomes a creature. Quicksand is removal. Rogue's Passage could help your 9/9 get in and possibly win you the game. Sequestered Stash, basically, it's mill. And it can get you an artifact back if you want, right? But you just want that mill no matter what. Spawning Bed, creating 3 1/1s, 9/9s is nuts. On a land, that's going to be really good. Springjack Pasture, sure, at worst, it's just a waste. At best, it's creating you a 9/9 every turn, alright? That's what this deck's about, right? It makes a board of 0/1s and 1/1s and shitty-looking creatures become this board of 9/9s out of nowhere, right? Underdark Rift is just basically removal. Urza's Factory, going to create you bodies. Volatile Fault. You'll notice this will destroy a non-basic and opponent controls, and instead of like Field of the Dead, which will get you another land, this is just going to give you a treasure. Sure, it might technically be worse. However, I'd rather avoid playing Waste. War Room, you're going to pay 0 life, so you just pay 3, draw a card. Drawing a card is always going to be good. And then Zoetic Cavern, because it can come down as a creature. This deck is strange, because there's some high-value cards, there's a lot of low-value cards. So, market value, $296, right? Seems like a lot, however, it's definitely just a strange deck. I mean, I don't think there's another colorless commander out there like it. So, like, let's go test hand. This hand is an absolute keeper. So we go like Encroaching Waste into Soul Ring into turn 2. We would Zoetic Cavern into Thran Dynamo. We're at 7 mana, mind you. I think we will run out Wondrous Crucible. All right. At our end step, mill 2, exile a card at random. We will go. I'm just gonna pretend we're gonna say we got Cityscape Leveler, whatever. So that's a big guy. All right, that's just a big creature. Next turn, we'd probably play Hedron Crawler to help us ramp more. Probably play Bag of Holding. So the one bad thing about Bag of Holding is that the cards that we discard will get exiled, so they won't be in the graveyard. However, I think the card advantage is usually worth it. We use the 3 here to play Iron League Steed. We will mill 2. So it'll either be Mesmeric Orb or Grimoire of the Dead. We're going to say it's Mesmeric Orb. We're going to go to turn 5. So 4 things untapped. So we're going to mill 4 cards. I think at this point we would play Shriekhorn, use it to mill 2, basically just lands, which is a bit unfortunate. I think I would activate Bag of Holding to draw a card and then discard a card. We'll discard Triplicate Titan. I'm going to play Fomori Vault. We could run out Canoptek Scarab Swarm. So if we wanted to, right? Sorry. We could exile our own graveyard. Since the only thing we have are lands and artifacts, we'll be able to get 8 1/1s, right? However, this would also set us behind for the Triad, but I think it would be beneficial to get rid of everything, right? We create 8 1/1s. On the next turn, we would swing, and then we'll mill 8 with Mesmeric Orb, and probably be right back to where we were before. So let's we're going to pretend we created 8 1/1s. We're going to full swing at, we'll just say there's a, full swing. We should have milled, like, how many there? Like 5 or 6. We'll full swing at an opponent. We're going to say that they couldn't block. We're going to tap, everything. We're going to mill 2 with Shriekhorn. At this point, we're going to move to turn 7. We're going to untap, 7, 10, 11. And I'm even forgetting to go off Wondrous Crucible, too. We're going to mill 19 cards. Alright, and then at this point, let's be real, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So our commander's free, and then we're going to exile, let's go. So that's 9, 16, 18, 20, 25, 29, 30. We are going to move those to exile. We will create the emblem. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 8. So we have 12 9/9s. And at this point, you just won the game, basically. But anywho, that's how the deck works. Sure, that was a very strong start, but I thought I'd bring this one to attention. I think it's a really cool card. What's coming up? So I have a couple decks I've been kind of working on. A little Goyf Tribal, but I'm like 50-50 on that. Some like a Damia Manabon type deck. This frog deck, because I've been like talking to this girl and she really likes frogs, and like, I don't know, she said she'd learn to play Magic with me, and I'm like, I don't know if I really want you to do that. I don't think I'd pass that on to someone else. I've been thinking about building a Tetsun. A lot of times I'll put the commander in the deck, and then I will start building from there. But I just haven't had a lot of motivation. And then Knights Templar, I'm thinking about either going with a, mostly, like a Knights Matter, not like a Knights Matter, having the same creatures matter, like a, Echoing Courage type of thing. And then I'll have ways with like a Chromas Memorial, legendary cards like that'll bump up the whole board. Or I'm going to do legendary equipments because I think that would be cool. But either way, that's what's coming up. That's what I've been working on. That's what I've been thinking about. But this has been MTG Man signing off.